Como está there, mi amigo?
Same to you.
Play of words. 28 chickens. How many
Okay.
did not? 8
How the
chickens.
courts in England would roll
Eight.
sometimes.
Eight.
This was a lot of fun teaching people in England this too, because I was going around to, York and Cambridge and Oxford, and I was going around everywhere. And I'm teaching them English law, which is hysterical. Because I'm a colonist. What the hell do I know?
Coming back to teach them
Oh,
all.
it's hysterical. It's hysterical.
It's out,
So the man asked me about the word wish. Okay. So you're a 10-year-old king. You're a 10-year-old queen. All these guys, they're pretty big dudes with swords around me. How do you think it's going to sound like coming out of a kid? I order you. How's it going to sound like saying, I demand? This lady did this the other day. She calls me up, the lady from North Dakota. She said, I told the court clerk I demand. File on demand. Oh, really? And whatever she says, no. You got a way to enforce your demands? Who you got behind you? Demand what? Is there a reason why you couldn't talk proper, polite, and just say, I wish? When you say, I wish, it's like, I, in the image of God, wish. Because we're all equal. I can't order you to do a damn thing. I can't demand anything from you, but I wish you'd do it. And you're supposed to say, you wish something of me? I will try to fulfill your wish. Because when I wish of something of you, I wish you to fulfill my wish as well. It sounds very lovely and congenial and very pleasant. It's like, I demand you, sit down. You're going to say, what? F you. It's like, oh yeah, well who you got behind you, Carl? Yeah, well I got all this behind me. Okay? That's how I'm going to make you do it. So obviously, this little 10-year-old, 12-year-old kid was taught very young, it's the wish of the court that this ought to be carried out. It's the wish of the court that I have 10,000 loaves of bread here by tomorrow. It's the wish of the court. He can't order any freaking thing. He's got no freaking money. He's a 10-year-old kid. He's a punk. You better talk polite, because I don't care if he's a 50-year-old king. You got 500 guys with swords surrounding you. I order all you. Off with your head. Oh, really? You're going to kill all of us. So how are you going to pull that with magic stuff? So that's why your wish was just a way of being proper and polite. And the whole thing is, too, only a man has the capacity to believe. Only a man can make a wish. The government is rigid. The government is a statute, like a statute. It's solid. It's a statute. It's cute how they do statute. It's rigid. It's not flexible. It only can read one way. It's etched in stone. You can't modify. It's a statute. You take out one word, and it shatters. The whole thing falls apart. Like when I lived down here in North Carolina, well, this is Tennessee, and I'm sure you guys have a lovely opinion of people from North Carolina, just like they do of you. I was trying to...
I resemble that remark.
Yeah, you're damn right you do.
As he says, like talking from New York, right? I'm from North Carolina.
No Calhoun's is
We'll
talking.
kill you down there in North Carolina.
Kill all
Right?
y'alls.
Tourette's.
Yo! I think the best way to describe that. Well, let me finish the wish one before we get off into that, get into a subject. See, this is a voluntary placement out of the code book from Alabama, where their administrative code, the policy code book.
Is that one that's on your website? It's all caps.
I don't know, it's this one right here. It says the department has no authority, can't dictate, under a voluntary agreement. Every agreement is voluntary in this country. You can't point a gun at the guy and say agree with me. So it's kind of redundant to say it's a voluntary agreement, but it's nice for the unlearned to think there's a difference between a voluntary agreement and an involuntary agreement, which would not be an agreement at all. Under a voluntary agreement to hold a child against the parent's wishes. Consequently, the parent has the right at any time to request and to receive his child. Voluntary agreements ought to be accepted only in situations in which the department would have no hesitancy in returning the child to his parents. See, because if the parent was charged with abuse and neglect, there has to be a report. Everybody knows nowadays what a mandated reporter is, right? Teachers, priests, every freaking body. Everybody has to squeal on everybody, right? Everybody has to be a rat. Mandated report. So when you file a report, you have to send it down to the local sheriff's department or the prosecuting attorney's office or district attorney. You know, whatever you call it, wherever you live. The DA. Yeah, the prosecutor, the PA DA has got to get a copy of the report. So when I tell people, when their children are taken away, I say the very first thing you need to do, stop talking to social services, because they're mandated reporters. They have to have a report of abuse and neglect filed with the sheriff's department or with the prosecutor's office. There has to be. Judges are mandated, everybody's mandated, every freaking body's a mandated reporter, and they have to report it to one of those two entities, or some communities, you have to report it to both. So, but some communities don't have a sheriff's department or a prosecutor, so they have to report it to one or the other. So I tell the parents, go down to the sheriff's department and see if there's a report. Did somebody file a report of abuse and neglect on you? And go down to the prosecutor's office, see if there's a, almost 100% of the time, there's not. You guys signed some sort of a safety plan, some sort of a contract, some sort of a placement agreement, whatever the hell you want to call it. You signed something. And anytime you wish to no longer be called a defendant, anytime you no longer wish to be under the control or authority of the government, all you have to do is say, I no longer wish to live up to this term and agreement of these conditions of this contract, and I wish that which is you have in mind returned immediately. I'm not going to try to show you guys too much about this stuff, because I know it's going to lead to total chaos. I know it's going to happen. Larry calls me up in Texas, and you guys better not call Larry, because I'm telling him not to talk to you guys. Larry called me up and told me, he says, Carl, I got a check from the Department of Motor Vehicles for $600 that they returned from a man who got a traffic tickets, and it equals $600. The man who was studying his stuff wrote to the Department of Motor Vehicles and said, I believe you took my money in error, I wish to return. He got a check back for $600. It's not funny, it's not cute, it's not adorable, I wish the man never did that. It's horrible. What's going to happen is you're going to have a whole bunch of inner city youths, who could be from the age of 15 to 23, and they're interesting backgrounds, ethics, beliefs, and origins of where their fathers came from, whatever. You're going to have a lot of inner city youths, all crazy hillbillies, running around, driving 112 miles an hour to a school zone. There's no way the cops are going to be able to slow these people down. If they can't find them and they can't imprison them, say, well, no action could rise because there's no damage. If these kids learn this trick, because I learned all this stuff when I was a little kid, you're going to have bedlam going on in these communities. In 1972, you guys are old, thank God you guys are old. 1972, everybody read newspapers. Everybody had a daily newspaper. Everybody read a freaking newspaper. 1972, I was 9 freaking years old. People ask me when did I get started with this. I started at 9 years old. How I got started with this? The headline read, New York State teachers and administrators can no longer administrate corporal punishment on the student body. Parents can still hit their kids. So it's like, wait a second, what's going on here? Parents can still hit their kids, you know. Why is this? Why is this long and this is this long? This is some sort of code, man. This is some sort of civil law. This is some sort of a policy. This is some sort of statute. This is common law. Our parents can hit the kids. No New York State teacher or administrator may enforce any form of corporal punishment on the student body. What the hell does that mean? Parents can still hit their kids. Oh, I got that. You know, that's no problem. So I said, wait a second. What the hell's going on here? And when I was a kid, I said to myself, why did they say teachers can't hit kids anymore, but the parents still can? Well, you know what, they got extra room and ink and space on their paper, they need to fill up this page. Why is this 22 words long and this 5 words long? What's going on here? So I said, wow, there's something to this. And then they said under the New York Statute Code 6736253.72-1. So I'm like, I gotta get me this code book. I like this. You can't hit me no more? Oh, and I got some teachers, oh boy, this is great. They ain't gonna hit me no more, this is fantastic. I want to study this stuff up. Because we had a principal in school, and he actually had like the Board of Education thing. He was a little German, Nazi guy, he was an older man. Oh, little tyrant. Oh, his name was Mr. Stratton. I'm sure he's long dead. And these poor kids named the sense, little demons, they deserve to get their asses beat. Every day, coming home on a bus, they'd have to hold like the strap because they couldn't bend because the principal would bust them so hard they couldn't bend their legs. And it was so funny because they were the bullies of the school, the 3 brothers. And every time the school bus driver hit a bump, the kids were like trying to keep from crying, and all of a sudden they just bawl like little girls, and they were you know, big guys, big bullies. It's hysterical watching them. So kids like me were in terror. You know, the principal ever hit me someday. It was like, holy shit, if these monsters are afraid, holy crap, I don't even want to go see that guy. So I was such a well-behaved kid until 1972. Once I realized, you can't hit me no more. That's the only thing that's been restraining me. That's the only thing that's slowing me down from being me. Is the terror of being, being beaten. So I got the code book, and I started studying the codes. And every time the teachers try, and actually I shouldn't have done this when I was in junior high, and I told all my 7th and 8th grade buddies, I said, remember that teacher hit you last year? Yeah, well, we could hit them. What? And they can't hit us. What? They can't hit us? No. They could restrain us, they could hold us, they could put us in a bear hug, but they can't hit us back anymore. Really? Because we were never crazy enough to hit a teacher in the first place. But the teachers had no problem paddling us, hitting us. Oh, all right. I said, payback's a bitch. So, I swear to God, some kids would just get up to the science teacher and see him sitting right there and say, hey, Mr. Nolan, bam! And he'd knock him right off the chair, and the guy would walk around with a black eye for a week or two. We'd all laugh and, oh, that's what has to hit that guy, that's for. And all the teacher could do is hold you. That's all he could do. There were so many teachers walking around with black eyes in 1972, 1973, because payback's a bitch. I mean, the green lights, now we can strike back. Until then, we were totally terrified that these guys were going to hit us back. I started studying the code. When I left school, there were 1,751 kids in the graduating class, 14,000 kids in the school district. My principal told me when I left school, he said, I have to go to these boring school board meetings once a month. He said, I got 40,000 kids in this school. He says, when the school board starts coming up with new rules, new procedures, how we're going to train, discipline, monitor you guys, he said, I got to raise my hand and say, you can't do that. Why not? I got a student named Karl Lentz, and he informed me under statute 613572 that if you want to detain me after school, you have to provide me same and adequate transportation on the ride home. So unless you want to leave a school bus parked in the parking lot for Mr. Lentz, we can't detain him. Oh, really? He says, every single month, your name is, out of 40,000 kids, your name always pops. He said, there might be other couple of kids every now and then, but your freaking name, every school board meeting, always pops freaking up. He said, you had to find that damn code book, didn't you? I said, oh, you damn better believe it. And I'm going to make you wish I never found the law, because I'm going to burn you with your own words. So when I graduated, because I went down there to talk to him, there's 1,751 kids that graduated. I was 1,749. I said to him, how in all of God and holy didn't I hit the bottom? I said, I had a 63.7. What's going on? How did somebody mathematically get a 6 or a 5? He said, well, there's one guy named Tommy. He said, not Tommy the retard. Yeah, Tommy the retard. I said, there's no way in the world that guy in a multiple choice question 4, he could get a 0. There's no way. You know, there's no way. You could spot him a 0. There's no way. You know, this kid could have graduated. He said, look, we gave him a sympathy diploma. Because I said, yeah, he's a good, gentle giant. Okay, and his mom and dad are real proud. He did the 12 years. Okay, fine. We all, okay. It's a, you know, a diploma. It's like a you know, let's feel good about the participation trophy diploma. Who's the 63.6? He said, some guy said, look, this guy must have passed through the lockers because I didn't see this guy. I said, because I'm bucking for the bottom. And he said, why do you want to do that? I said, my dad's German. And he said, what does that mean? He said, well, didn't you ever hear the word dumb Polak? Do you not know what the word dumb Polak means? And the principal didn't know. I said, do you understand that what happened? You understand that Germany and Russia split Poland in half during World War II. Do you understand that government kept such meticulous records of all their citizenry that all the wise, smart teachers and doctors and lawyers, all the professionals were killed? So literally, when you watched All in the Family, and you watched Archie Bunker calling the guy a dumb Polak, Norman Lear would have done a great service to this nation when he said, if he just had the character say, Archie, why do you keep calling me dumb Polak? Because literally, after World War II, the only Polacks that were alive were the dumb ones. Everybody else was killed. My dad said, you make sure you finish at the bottom of your class. You make sure when they come, the government comes to look for you, they can't find you. Or they won't even think about looking for you. You never applied for a credit card? Nope. Never took a loan? Nope. Never graduated top of class? Nope, finished at the bottom. Always make sure your hands are calloused and rough. They're not calloused or rough, stick your hands in gasoline and kerosene for a couple hours till they come around you up. Make sure they're dry and hard as a rock, and take off your glasses, throw them away, and talk as dumb as a box of rocks. That's the only thing that's going to keep you alive. He said, if you think that you have any knowledge, any education whatsoever, they're going to come and get you. That's why for me to do this is incredible, because I'm putting myself out on a target now, like, hey, look at me, Mr. Government, hey. I've been trying to be in incognito my whole entire life. I've been trying to hide under the radar until they took my kids. Then I had no choice. I had to come out. And I had to say, no, dumb is dumb, but this won't stop. I know how you work, I know how you operate, and how you roll, and I'm going to expose you to everybody. Don't take my kids. He said, if I was you, I'd kill you right now. Don't wait for me to say what I got to say, because you're not going to like what I got to say. If I was you people, I'd kill me right now. And you're like, yeah, Mr. Lentz. Oh, okay. You're going to wish you did when you had the chance to do it. Because now it's too late. There's too much videos out here, there's too much knowledge that's out here now, so you're wasting your time getting rid of it. You want me to get that for you? Okay, let's see. You're gonna like this stuff, okay. I got stopped when I came back from England, 2013. I got stopped by a state trooper in January 2014, December. My sister's birthday is in December, make sure you send her a gift. Okay, her registration tags went out on her vehicle I was driving in January. Young state trooper, just graduated from the academy, pulled me over. He says to me, your tags are expired. I said, I'll let my sister know. He said, to me, he says, well, I'm gonna have to write you a citation. I said, you know, you do as you wish. I said, but I shall register the vehicle. And shall is a future tense word. Future tense word. Yep. And he said, I shall return. He was being cute. I was being cute. He says, I shall inform her this vehicle, I shall register this vehicle. He says, then I shall return. You know, he was being a smart ass, and he literally was a smart ass. He was smart. He was intelligent. He knew where I was going with this. When he wrote this here and he came back to the vehicle, he actually had a citation in his hand. I said, wait a second, kid. Didn't you hear me say, I shall register this and I shall inform her? He says, yes. He said, do you know what the word shall means? He says, yes. He said, the first day of the police academy, he said, we were told the word shall is a future tense word, that we have no authority and control over our fellow man. And you do know that, yes. And they teach you guys this. They said, I wonder how long ago they started teaching this, because they're bearing no liability anymore. The state's not bearing any liability, pulling it fully on you. That you know you can't control your fellow man. That's right. We can't. We can't tell you people what to do. We can't force your people to do anything. It's all voluntary. Because everything is shouts. Everything's in the future. He says, what they do teach us at the academy is that we can't control our fellow man. We can't stop our fellow man. We can't order our fellow man to do anything. We can't arrest our fellow man. We can't shackle him, handcuff him. But let's talk about a perpetrator. Let's talk about a thief. Let's talk about a driver. Let's talk about a suspect. Let's talk about a drug dealer. We could kill, murder, rape, load you guys up, set you guys up, take you guys down, tase you, beat you, whip you, mutilate you. We do whatever the fuck we want to you. But we can't touch a man. That's right. But it's funny when Frank, my mom's husband, is in a detention center, which is funny. Detention is like a little child. His son tells me that he has a friend that works there, a woman that works in the kitchen, who says they have all these boxes at these detention centers, says not fit for human consumption, all the food, not fit for human consumption. I said, that's right. It's not fit for human consumption. He said, but they're feeding it to my dad. I said, optimum word. He said, Dad. That's a title. He said, human. You think your dad is human? Maybe. It's your belief. I got a mom and a dad in a pickup truck that have a beautiful little girl. They're dogs. Can I feed that dad in my pickup truck? You better believe I can. What's Frank? What's your daddy now? He's an inmate. Do I got 3 inmates in my truck right now? You better believe it. Or they'd be running loose all over the place here. Can I feed this? 3 inmates? Damn right I can. Did Frank forget to tell somebody he's a man? You better believe he forgot. And every damn person in jail forgot. We had an Indian guy, not Luke, I'm trying to remember his name, it's a simple name like that, up in Canada. And you could see this on the Winslow show I do up there in British
Al?
Columbia. Who?
Al?
No, a simple name like, I'm trying to remember the man's name. He's an Indian. I don't know what nation he is up there, but he's an Indian. And it'll come to me in a little bit, but just let's say his name is Luke for right now. When, it's a long story, so I'll just cut to the chase part, but Dean Clifton and somebody else went up there to try to write an appeal for him. And so they helped him write an appeal. Wow, these things dry quick.
Anyway,
I'm not sure what he is. You have to have a... Well, whatever his problem was, it was Canadian revenue, CRA. When they went up to file the appeal for him, Dean Clifton and some other guru clown, they filed an appeal. I read his case. That they had against this man. I wish I could remember his name. It's like, sounds more like an Indian name. But anyway, before you could file an appeal, you have to have the case filed. You have to have the judgment and a ruling that you're appealing. You have to have a copy of the transcript, and you have to write a brief to file an appeal. So I read the case file, I saw the transcript, I saw the brief, and I said to Jake, that's his name, Jake, not Luke, that's his name, Jake. It's on my old shows. I'm sure somebody took it apart, and it's on the Winslow show. You hear his wife's friend talking in the audience. Jake doesn't want to come home. Why not? Because he's in a 5-star hotel section of the jail. That's right. Why? Because I wrote a letter saying there's a man that's going to be here, and you, his fellow man, have a duty and obligation not to befall any harm on him. Do as you wish. So, Jake, when I read this case file, it was a CRA case file, IRS case file. It was the difference between him being called a contractor and self-employed. They changed the code in, I believe it was either 2004 or 2007, that all contractors now had to call themselves self-employed. I went to Jake's, he was Indian, his wife was white. They had this great big huge bed and breakfast they had, oven, and like, they had this great huge bed and breakfast, had a lot of rooms, bedrooms, stuff like that, great people. And he said to me, these folks, like the Dean Clifton folks, helped him write paperwork. Okay? The only thing that I seen in the whole entire case file was this freaking thick. I had some man drive me from smartest man I ever met in Canada. His name is Alan Graff. Like Steffi Graf. German guy, smart guy, incredibly intelligent farmer. He does compost. He does natural organics. It sounds. He's incredible. He's the smartest man I've met in Canada. Alan Graff, nice guy. I hope he's still alive. He's got to be 68 years old by now. But anyway, Alan drove me from Calgary all the way over. It was like a 30-hour drive. Canada's huge. So I get over to Saskatchewan and I help Jake. And I read the case file. It's 3 o'clock in the morning when I get there, and in the bread and breakfast, I'm up against this hot tub reading this freaking case file. Massive. Read the thing. I'm almost done with it. And I see that he's actually charged with calling himself a contractor still instead of calling himself self-employed. And I'm saying to myself, it took like 300 pages just to get to what he's actually charged with. And I'm reading this, and I'm like a zombie by 9 o'clock in the morning. And Mr. Graff fell asleep, and when he woke up, I said, Mr. Graff, don't read the whole case file, just read this. Tell me what you think you see. He said, I see that this is what he's charged with. Really? Not failing to file, failing to pay tax. No, just this. Jake puts in oil pipes. They use these new kind of like a Teflon, kind of instead of steel pipes up there in Canada, they use these composite pipes. So he's just a Joe Schmo. Jake's just a nice guy, just a nice Indian, hard-working, blue-collar guy. So when they filed all the stupid paperwork, the Marshal Service, Royal Mounties, he has 8 glass doors that face the north side of his house. The U.S. Marshals or Royal Police blew out all 8 doors to get in the house. Blew out all 8 windows, and they have big windows like these, 8 of them. Blew them all out to come in, to take his computer and his records. Jake and his wife told me, we never lock the doors because it's bed and breakfast, and we don't give guests keys, so everybody just comes and goes. They wish they just had to turn the knob on any of those doors, and they would have walked right in. But they had to set an example. When you do this free men nonsense, this land unmanned, whatever nonsense, they're going to blow your doors apart to teach you a lesson. So stop doing this free man nonsense, because you're going to get, they're going to come after you. So I read the case file, I read the transcript, I read the brief, and then he said, now do you want to read Dean Clifford's and his people's appeal brief that he wrote? I said, no, I want to see the ruling. He said, the ruling is I have to report on Tuesday the prison. I got to go to the sheriff's department, they're going to pull me over to the federal prison. And Canada has federal prisons. Mexico has federal prisons, Brazil has federal prisons. Okay, we're not the only one that are exclusive. Just south of us, there's a country called the United States, correct? Of Mexico, right? You know they call it the United States of Mexico, right? The United States of Brazil, right? We're not the only United States. There's the United States all over the world. Okay, we're not the only United States, trust me. So when you see Barack Obama, when he did his speech for the State of the Union, he said, the President of the United States, Barack Obama. And I turned it right off. I said, that's it. What United States? President of the United States of Mexico? Brazil? What? I said, oh, this is ridiculous. He's the President of the United States Corporation. He's not the President of the United States of America, though I need to introduce him as the United States of America. He'd give him his full title. Obviously, he's just the President of the United States. He's the President of Coca-Cola. Obviously, there's no sense in me watching anymore. This goes is going to get stupid quick. So anyway, Jake had to turn himself in on Tuesday. I'm reading this thing on Sunday. Jake has to turn himself in on Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. I tell Jake, I said, where's the ruling? Where's the judgment? Why are you hiding it from me? He says, I'm not. Where's the judgment, Jake? There has to be a judgment. File an appeal, there has to be a judgment. I don't see it in this great huge pile. I'm exhausted, Jake. Don't F with me. I said, we just drove halfway across Canada. I'm exhausted. Where's the damn ruling? Well, I got to turn myself in at 9 o'clock, and I got to spend 7 months in a federal correctional facility. I said, great, really. Where's the ruling? Where's the judgment? You got to appeal the ruling. They said, how did Dean Clifford and his buddies appeal it when you didn't have the freaking ruling? He said, you got to turn this in to the appellate court. He said, the appellate court made a ruling. They can't make a ruling without the judgment. Where is it? He says, I've never seen one. Oh, Jesus. And you just took the judge's word when he said, turn up on Tuesday at 9 o'clock, and you're going to go to, and you know what 9 o'clock means, and you know what federal, and it's not written down? Are you effing me? He was like, no, I'm serious. I said, really? I don't believe you, pal. I said, let me tell you what. Monday morning comes, I'm going to call the court clerk, and I'm going to call the prosecuting attorney. And if I find out that you've been doing kiddie porn up here, or child rape up here, if I find out something's going on, I said, you're going to be in trouble. I said, you better pray. I said, that it just says this on that ruling. And that you're going to get 7 months in jail for that. I said, that's obscene to get 7 months in jail for that. You got to be bullshitting me. So he, Monday morning comes, I call the court clerk. And I said, hey, I'm in a nice little small town. It wasn't Regina. It was another little tiny town near the Montana border. And I called the court clerk lady, and she says, oh, yeah, friends of Jake? Yeah. Well, he knows he has to turn in a Tuesday at 9 o'clock. There's not going to be trouble. We don't have to send the Mounties back up there to get him, do we? No, ma'am, you won't need to blow out any windows, ma'am. He'll be there. I'll make sure he gets there. Well, that's good. He goes, we'll come get him. No. I'm going to deliver him. He'll be there. Trust me. Believe me. I'll get him. Ma'am, can you... we didn't see anywhere where there's a ruling. I would need to know exactly the location, place, and time where I must deliver this man. And she said, well, Jake knows. He heard the judge. Yeah, Jake's getting old, and he's an Indian. He doesn't, he's kind of dumb, Do you have it in writing so we can make sure we we comply fully with the court's ruling. You know, it's like, well, he's not gonna give us any trouble. Ma'am, we just wanna fully comply. We wanna turn his body in, not at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, we wanna make sure it says 9 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock, because I think it's 8 o'clock, and he's telling me it's 9. And I don't want you people coming here busting out his windows if we're really supposed to be there at 8. Would there be any problem for us to come down today and get a copy of the ruling, the judgment? Well, I don't believe there is a copy of the ruling of the judgment. So there's nothing in writing that this man has to turn himself in. Well, he just knows, and he's gonna give us trouble, we'll come get him now, he's on probation. No, ma'am, no parole, no, ma'am, we'll get him up there, we're just wondering. So I said to Jake, this is weird. So I called up the prosecuting attorney, he said, you know the lady's name? Well, ma'am, it was a lady. Talked to her as well. And after a while, she just said to me, who are you? I said, I'm just a friend of Jake. And we just wanna fully comply with your orders, with the court's orders. Well, I'm done talking to you. Jake just better be there at 9. I said to Jake, there is no damn order. Oh my God. Because they say, yeah, sure, pick it up. It's at the end of the case. It's, you know, judgment, ruling, it's at the very end. It's the last piece of paper that should be there. There was nothing there, that's what I said. I went to the very end and said, where's the order? Where's the judgment? Where's the ruling? Nothing. So I wrote a lovely letter to the man who's going to act as the warden for this federal correctional facility. Wrote him a lovely letter. I said, you do know, I, Jake, a man, will now appear before you on this day. I, your fellow man, require that you tend to me as you wish, you know, for I to treat you. Oh, thanks, man. I was looking for those things. Where'd they go? Some kid walk over or something?
They were sitting over here.
Yeah, because all these things are getting dry.
Where's the black one?
Thanks, man. That's
I seen you kept trying to reach in the covered water.
yeah. That was like that. But I wrote a lovely notice to the warden, saying that you have a fellow man who will appear, you know, and you know, I require that, you know, you treat me as man, you know, so do as you wish. And Jake and his wife, you know, the last night that they were together, I wrote that out for them on Monday, so the last night that they were together, I heard that fax machine going all night long. And he kept sending out to every person that he could find in the Canadian government. They were faxing it. So obviously we brought him down to the sheriff's department down there, and some black SUV rolled up, and this cute little lady running out in a black uniform and ran to the court clerk's office at like 9:05 and said, he didn't file any paperwork with you, did he? And the lady said, yeah, he filed this. You know, so they rewrote, and I had already taken it back out to the truck. And she says, did you give him a copy of it? Yeah, I signed it, stamped it, gave him a copy. Oh no, I can't believe you let him. Didn't you guys get, this morning we said not, no, we just opened up for business at 9 o'clock, these guys were standing here, we stamped it. Oh, we left a message in the ask machine, don't stamp anything from this guy. So they were like, oh, why? I was like, oh, damn. So when he went to jail, it was funny. Jake took me up onto his mountains up there in his pickup truck, and he was showing me this watering hole he was digging for the cattle. And he said, Carl, he says, I'm 57 years old, and I'm not gonna go to jail again. I said, Jake, you got a wife and kids? He says, no, I got insurance, and I'm just gonna disappear, and I'm gonna die. I said, no, you're not, Jake, it's gonna be fine. He says, Carl, I'm too old for this. He said, it's wet, slimy, cramped, cold. He says, my back couldn't take it when I was a kid. I can't do it at 57. I said, you want good accommodations, Jake? I'll get you good accommodations. I'll write a hell of a notice to the warden for you. He said, you would? I said, yeah, I'll write a notice. So I wrote this notice, and then I go to, that was in March, April, and I go do a show in Canada in May or June, and it's in Winslow, and you hear the people that I'm talking to. The lady says, I said, you're Jake's friend, right? Jake's wife's friend, yeah. How's Jake doing? Oh, Jake's doing great. How's his wife doing? Oh, she's miserable. Why? Jake won't leave. What? They told him he could leave, he ain't going nowhere. I said, no, Jake, I told Jake, don't go nowhere. It's funny because I said, you'll charge them for every minute, every hour that you're in there, and there's no order for you to be there. Since what is a man walking around in a federal prison who's not ordered to be there? There's no order ordering you to be there. I said, they're going to have some explaining to do if a man is walking around in a federal prison and gets hurt, harmed, injured, or accrues a loss. You better be walking on pillows up there. So it's funny, his brother called me up when we started to go back towards Calgary, because Jake was, his wife didn't call to say goodbye to him at the sheriff's department. We all drove away and everybody thought it was miserable, you know, everybody's pretty down. Well, call, I thought you're gonna do some magic and get this guy from going. I said, you'll see. So then when we were driving back about 6, 7 o'clock at night, his brother called us up and he said, wow, Jake's like saying that he gets to, he has to turn in at 10 o'clock at night. He gets to eat 3 meals a day, anything he wants, lobster, steak, whatever he wants. He gets whatever he wants, and that he has to turn himself in at 10 o'clock every night, he has to count. So he said, he's treated great. I said to him, I said, right, you're gonna get your teeth fixed, you're gonna make sure your heart valves, everything's working, you're gonna make sure you get the best of everything while you're in there. So like I said, it all depends on, you have to let these folks know in the government, know that you're a man. That you're a man, 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 and they're a man, and you want to be treated accordingly. I don't want to be treated like an inmate. I don't want to be treated like a prisoner. I'm a man and you're a man. And, you know, this is how we want to treat each other. And when I say that to people, if you try to say, are you amoral or are you moral? When you say you're amoral, that means you're not moral. So when I say to people, just say, I, man, or I am man. Don't say, I am a man. Don't use the word a, because in this silly legal world, a means not. So don't say, I am a man. Say, I am man, or I, man. But don't say, I am a man, because you say, are you moral or are you amoral? You want to be moral. It's silly, stupid. You're walking into their court, they're bound by these certain words, and it's just little silly things that when a judge hears it, he realizes you know the rules of the game.
So Jake was able to invoke I man at the very end, right before he was going into federal prison.
Right, exactly. He still let him know that he is man, and he still expects to be treated as such. Because
So you could do that at any time.
Right, I'm sure they could do it while they're in prison. They could send a letter out informing, you know, the powers that be that yes, you're a warden, but you're still a man, and I'm a man, and I expect to be treated as such. Because when Vital's brother, Louis, got let out of jail not too long ago, Louis said to me, he says, hey, you know what? That's right, when they did roll call one day, they said there was 34 inmates. And he says, when they were releasing me, I used to be number 44 inmates when they called it. He said, when the day I was being released, he said, there's 43 inmates and 1 body. Now you're somebody, because now you're a free man. So you have 43 inmates and 1 body when they did roll call. He says, Carl, yeah, that's right. They used to count out to 44. The day I was released, they yelled out 43 inmates and 1 body. Now you're on a different status.
But now technically, since he didn't have an order, he could have not went, right?
Right, but I told him, I said, look, you're 57 years old, you have no health insurance, whatever, you go in the end of the line in Canada, when you're in their prison system, you get to the front of the line. I said, you make sure you get cardiograms, heart, spleen, kidney, you get everything analyzed, you get the best of everything. Because if anything befalls, harm, injury, loss to you, you could make a claim, it'll stagger them.
Now I know you always are man. I know that. So when they don't respond to a letter that is within its proper jurisdiction from you, say.
What do you mean proper jurisdiction?
In other words, you don't traverse. You maintain I am man, I am only man, I require. So you do everything properly and they ignore it.
Because, again, of course, there is no such thing as they.
I know, but
No, you have to speak
trying to
properly.
convey.
No,
Okay, the
no,
other
no,
man
I
acting
don't speak
as
Ebonics,
an
man.
agent, another man acting as a sheriff,
Right, so when you say-
ignores your paperwork,
When you write a letter to your fellow man
right?
and say, like, greetings, Bob,
No.
I believe you're acting as a judge or a magistrate on this legal matter.
Right,
Is that true?
Wait,
That's what you send them.
okay.
And then stop. That's the end of your letter.
And what if they don't respond?
They will. I've never had a judge not respond to something that simple. Hi, Bob. Well, Bob, greetings. I believe you're the man who's acting as a judge in this legal matter. Is that true? And it's above, and then you put the number down, case number 111111. Is that true? Hope to hear soon for you. Godspeed. Good luck. God bless. Your friend, Carl. That's all. If you're really worried that he's not gonna respond to you, put a self-addressed stamped envelope, you know, put a piece of blank paper in there, fill it out, say, check one box, yes or no,
It's a crayon.
and we're good to go. We're good to go, yeah. Oh, like I usually say, take an insert of an ink pen out and put it in there, in an envelope. You know, just take a big pen insert and just put that in there. Don't put the whole pen, just take the insert out, put it in, and send him a letter. You know, respond back yes or no, give him a self-addressed stamped envelope, put a stamp on it, and say, please check box yes or no.
Well, that reminds me of blissful days of first and second grade.
How hard could this be for him to respond? Yes or no? If it's a lawyer, he can respond, yes and no. Oh, it's a lot of fun when they do that. I've had that. And I've told the man acting as a judge, hey, tell the state prosecutor to cut this crap. I'm talking to him as man to man. I'm not talking to him as a prosecutor. He says, no, Carl. He said, that's the rules. I said, yeah, fine. He said, you can answer yes and no. But he will respond.
So you use the
Because
right-
he could check the box yes and no. Somebody did that not too long ago. Somebody sent a letter asking that very simple question to a prosecutor or to the IRS or to a judge. And he said that he got a letter back that was 7 pages long. Just a
Is that the
simple
one you were
question.
telling me about where they were saying how they weren't a man?
How they were but weren't at the same time. Yes, I am a man, but.
That was the IRS, you told me it was the
Yeah, I forgot
IRS.
who it was, yeah. But as I'm saying, a 7-page freaking letter. Just explain. A little simple question. Are you the man who sent me this letter? Yes or no? Well, yes, I am, but let me explain.
Here's why I'm not.
That's right, how I'm not the man who sent you the letter. 7 pages of gobbledygook. You know, it's so funny how they're trying not to bear any liability, because you can't order anything from your fellow man without fair and just compensation. So see, this is what's funny is people all over the world are starting to catch on to this nonsense that I'm doing. And they're starting to come back, instead of just saying yes and no, they're having their legal department say, how should we answer this? We're gonna give these people 8,000-page answer for the word yes and no.
Yeah, but still, you can bypass all that and go right back to the original question. I want to
Yeah,
talk
they
to
say,
the man.
well, I
right?
believe that you are a man, and if you wish to bring me forth before any court, I'll be more than glad to answer you man to man. You know, I don't.
Carry
believe-
out any
you know,
order you
I-
wish for
yeah,
me to
I,
carry
as
out.
man, do not owe a duty and obligation to any agency in which you employ yourself. I'm not employed by that agency. I don't believe that I have any duty and obligation to that agency. Can you please show me where I do? You know, so it's a little
But you
simple.
wouldn't ask for the law. You would just say, please show
I
me
couldn't
how
care
you
less
do it.
what their law is.
Right. Okay.
I couldn't care less what they believe. You could believe in Santa Claus, you could believe there's a space alien standing next to me, and I totally believe you. This is what I always tell people, like I said, if a cop, or a judge, or a man, or a woman, if they just say that they, you know, they just seen me, you know, turn into a space alien and turn back, really, I believe it. You're not gonna challenge me, fight me? No. You can believe whatever you believe. God gave you the ability to witness something that I wasn't able to witness. And that's what I say to people. I said, don't you guys realize it's so funny when everybody always says the Bible's always true? Everything in the Bible's true. Well, no, it is. It is. See, no, see, you guys don't get it. See, you're a disbeliever. I believe everything's true. See, you guys don't get it. You got the 4 big ones, right? The Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John versions, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, north, south, east, and west. Jesus on Temple Mount, giving his speech. This guy sees a red car hit a donkey. This guy sees a donkey come flying over Jesus Christ. This guy sees a truck smacking an apple cart and a donkey running towards him. Okay, now this guy's version, when he was standing here, he was witnessing that. He was witnessing from here, he was witnessing from this angle. Everybody's witnessing from a different point of view, a different angle. Whatever tools God gave you to observe with, taste, touch, and smell with, I'm sure they're different than mine. So I'm going to explain to you what I believe I witnessed on this day. That's why when you read Matthew, wait a second, these stories don't match up. Wait a second, this was Palm Sunday? What? This was what? This was Passover? What? They're different. That's because they got it from 4 different angles, 4 different perspectives. It's in 4 different chairs. They witnessed something from 4 different perspectives. This is what God gave them the ability to try to decipher to you folks, to try to convey to you, like what I'm doing. If what I'm saying is my beliefs, and I'm just telling you what God has allowed me to witness in my time on earth. This is all I'm doing. Is it true? It's my truth. It's what I believe. Now, do you believe it? That's how court works. Court is where you just go out to act. You go out and you're going to act as a man. You're going to perform. You're going to act as judge. You're going to act as a prosecutor. You're going to act as a witness. You're going to go to court, you're going to act. Like every man has like three, you could say like three lives. You got your private life, you got your public life, and you got your secret life. Three different dimensions that you operate in at all times. You could have private, public, it depends on where you're at that particular moment of time. It's people don't know how to act in public, and that seems to be, that's all I'm trying to explain to you folks, is because your parents forgot to teach you how to act in public. I got extremely lucky. I had parents that you would say, I guess it was German or paranoid. We'd go to a park when we were little kids. And there'd be a red balloon floating. We'd go tearing off with all the other little youngsters to go after the balloon. My mom and dad would say, whoa, wait! What happened? There's a man behind that tree. You see that man peeping out behind that tree over there? Yeah, he's a bad man. You see that man over there on the water? Like, oh, where? Swimming underwater. Yeah, he's waiting to come and get you, pull you under. Oh, yeah. All these other little kids, go chase that red balloon. Yeah, go chase the red balloon. Not us, man. Not us. We're going to get there. It's going to take us a little bit of time. We're going to make sure who's behind that tree, who's hiding in the tree. Is there anybody in the water? We're going to cross this path real slowly and gently. We'll get there. Maybe not as fast as these kids. But if these kids are going at it wide open, they're not going to make it. We will. It might take us a little time. We're going to be a little patient, but we'll make it. And everybody who wants to move through this court, everybody wants to move through it like lightning. Everybody wants instant gratification, instant answers from me. They want boom, 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 3 words done. Boom. Wow, that was amazing, Carl. Yeah, now do it again. What did I do? I said abracadabra. What does abracadabra mean? You guys don't know what abracadabra means, right? Rise
No,
the
it's a
dead.
song by.
No, it means lift the dead. The dead will arise. Abracadabra.
Oh,
Lift the dead. Jesus, Lazarus, abracadabra. Jesus said abracadabra. Let the body rise. Okay, that's what abracadabra means. Lift. Bring it back to life. Bring back the dead. Abracadabra. You guys don't know that, huh? You guys?
I heard that before, but
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because if you like write abracadabra, you never did that when you were kids. I had girls in school like write abracadabra, abracadabra in a pyramid, and it's supposed to make some spell come true. If you write abracadabra, 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 it all comes together in the same word all the time. It's funny. You do abracadabra, abracadabra. Do that one day when you're home. It's like, oh my gosh, it's abracadabra that way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way. No matter which way you spell abracadabra in a pyramid, it'll spell abracadabra. Yeah, he's all lined up, he's all lined up, he's all lined up. It's pretty wild. I had these girls did this nonsense when I was a kid. Nonsense like that. But anyway, it's just words you conjure up. And like I said, and this is the big thing that everybody has a problem with too. Yeah, truth. Sorry for that. What's the difference between true and truth? Because I say on the bottom of my paperwork, I say, I swear, I say, I will verify, because everybody knows what verify means, right? It means by voice, because all human beings have voice. The government says certifications. We have verifications, because we're the other ones that have vocal cords, viva voce. We speak by voice. So I will verify that all herein, this paperwork, all herein above this, all herein above, be true. And I will verify it in any open court you wish to summons me to appear in. That's right. So, when I say it's true or the truth, what's the difference between true and truth?
Truth today. I'm sorry, truth today.
Truth, that's not bad. That's not a bad answer. Does anybody else want to take a crack at the difference between what's true and what's truth? Okay, the sovereign only knows what's true. Only God knows what's true. Okay, if I show, I love doing this to people. I did this to my assistant not too long ago. You see this point right here, right? Right, you got a point right there. Say I'm holding a point right here. I say, how big is that? What I'm holding there, how big is it or how long is this point? I used to make my sister, because she was great at math. I said, if I have a point right here, how long is that point? You say, what do you mean, how long is it? And she says, I don't know, what is it about? I don't know, about a millimeter? I said, now, turn around to the side and look at it from the side. It's a straight line, and it goes on to the end of the universe. Who knows? Only God knows what's true. We can only think what we believe to perceive to be the truth by the angle and the perception that we're looking at it at that particular moment of time. You seeing it as 1 millimeter. I'm looking at it from this side. So, holy shit, that goes on forever. No, dude, it's this big. Dude, not what I'm seeing. This is what I see. Well, I know what's the truth to me, and I'm telling you it's 1 millimeter. That's all I see. That's right, because it's pointed right at you. Now how about you take a glance aside? Holy shit. I never looked at it from that point of view. That's right. You just had to move just a little bit and you witnessed a whole different event and holy shit, you were totally wrong. But the only reason why you would be wrong would be that you did it with deliberate and wanton intent to cause harm to your fellow man. That's wrong. That's the worst thing you can say to any judge in any court, and he will go ballistic on you. When you tell him you're on it, you're wrong. Really. That's telling the judge, you mean at 7 a.m. today, I looked on the docket and I seen Karl Lentz was going to appear before me, so I'm going to do everything in my power to totally screw this guy. How am I going to be able to prove that what he intended on doing today was to cause me harm? It goes wrong. It means with deliberate one intent, you went out to cause harm to your fellow man. Now, what you might have done is you might have erred, or you might have erred, but you didn't do wrong. By telling me it was 1 millimeter, you weren't trying to trick me or deceive me or take anything away from me. You just believed, from your vantage point, it was 1 millimeter. When you had a time to think about it, okay, maybe I erred, maybe I was in error, maybe I made a mistake. But you certainly didn't do anything wrong if you caused me no harm. So when I go to court and I say, is there a man before this court today who's going to say that I, Karl Lentz, has done wrong? That's all I want to know. If I've done wrong, one, why didn't you tell me sooner? Because I would have settled the matter before coming into an open forum. All he had to do was tender me a bill or a debt. Tell me what the debt was, so I could pay off my debt to either him, her,